Hey guys, it's just Math, y'all. Welcome to the video. We are going to do complex numbers today. We're going to add them, subtract them, multiply them, and do a division and simplify some. Okay, so let's jump right in and let's get going. First of all, what is a complex number? Well, it's an a plus bi. It's an a plus bi. I comes from the radical square root of -1. Hopefully you watched the radical video and saw where the I was. And so now we're going to have problems with I in them, and we have to learn how to add them, subtract them, multiply them, and divide them. So let's get going. So here we have two like terms, 4 plus 5i, I'm sorry. We have two complex numbers, 4 plus 5i, 7 minus 8i. And so we want to add these. Those are both complex numbers. Complex numbers are a plus bi. That's what a complex number is. Let me get that on there so you can know. Complex numbers are a plus bi. That's what a complex number is. And I, of course, is the square root of -1. Okay? And so I've got two of these, and I want to add them. All you got to do is add the like terms. It's very simple. 4 plus 7 are like terms, and I'm just going to add those. 4 plus 7 is 11. And then a plus 5i and a minus 8i will be a minus 3i. Very intuitive. Subtraction, always be careful whenever you subtract. Make sure you do the distributive of the -1 right here. Yes, go ahead and do that. This is very intuitive. So this would be 3 minus 2i minus 11 plus 6i. Those two are like terms, makes a -8. And then these two are technically like terms and makes a plus 4i. I think that's right. And so that's all you have to do for adding complex numbers. Okay, so next we're going to multiply some complex numbers. Not much difficult, but we have two complex numbers and we're going to multiply them. Now, remember that I is the square root of -1, so I itself is going to be -1. So anytime we have I squared in an answer, we're going to replace it with -1 and then combine like terms and simplify. So we will use FOIL. That's what our gut's trying to tell me to do. Sometimes you may distribute, so use your gut, but we're going to multiply. I'm going to do 4 times both of those. That's the first and the outer. And so that would be 12 minus 24i. Remember that I, just kind of right now, it just kind of acts like a variable, which is what it really should be treated like. So just kind of let it go, let your instinct go. You kind of know how to do this. And then I'm going to do the 5i, and multiply both of those. So that would be a plus 15i and a minus 30i squared. Okay, so now if we notice we have like terms in the middle, like we're kind of used to that, and those are going to combine. The 12 I'm going to bring down real quick. And those I'm going to combine. That's going to give me a -9i. And then here's where it comes different. That I squared is actually a -1 and it's multiplied. So that becomes a plus 30. And now I'm going to continue to combine like terms, and I get 42 minus 9i. And that's my answer. And it's a complex number. It's in the form a plus bi, where you have a real number and then you have a bi problem. Okay? All right, let's do this next one. This next one doesn't look like a FOIL, but remember what that means. It means write it twice and then FOIL, or then multiply. Okay, stop the video and do this problem and see if you get it right, and then start it right back up. So write it twice. Now I'm going to multiply it. I'm going to do 6 times both of those, so it'll be 36 plus 54i. And then I'm going to do the 9i times both of those, which gives me another 54i and 81i to the second. Okay, I do have like terms in the middle. That's going to give me 108i. There's my 36. And then remember, my I squared is really a -1, and it's multiplied. So that's going to give me a minus 81. Now I have more like terms to combine, and I think that I'm going to get -45 plus 108i. That's how you multiply. Okay, let's jump into divide. Divide's different. You have to multiply the numerator and denominator by the conjugate of the denominator. Now this idea right here, that's the conjugate idea. The conjugate is the same numbers but with opposite signs. The opposite signs. So for this problem, it says multiply the numerator and denominator by the conjugate of the denominator. So the conjugate of this denominator would be 2 minus 3i. So I'm going to multiply both the numerator, which is the top, and the bottom, which is the denominator, by the conjugate of the denominator. And the top is going to be a distribute. The bottom is going to be a FOIL. So let's get those done really fast. Stop the video, see if you can do it. Here we go. That'll be 36i minus 39i squared. That's the top. The bottom is going to be 4 minus 6i plus 6i minus 9i squared. Okay, so now I squared is -1. So here we go. Let's come in here and change this one to -1. And remember, that's multiply. So that becomes a positive 39. So that numerator, if we put the whole number first, we have 39. The second number is 36i, so that's the numerator. Same thing on the bottom. I squared is actually -1, but that becomes plus 9. So 4 plus 9 is 13, and those cancel. So there we go. So now we're going to reduce our fraction. We have 39 over 13 plus 36. Is that really 36i? No, it's not. It's 26i. 26i. There we go. Sorry. There we go. And these are reducible. The first fraction reduces to 3. The second fraction reduces to 2. And there's my answer. Okay. We can do another one real quick. We have, how about 2 minus I over 3 minus 5i. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to multiply the numerator and the denominator by the conjugate of the denominator. The denominator conjugate would be 3 plus 5i and 3 plus 5i. Stop the video and let's try it on your own, and this is what we're going to get. Ready? Here we go. We have 6 plus 10i minus 3i minus 5i squared. That's going to be -1. So that's going to change to a positive 5. So that gives me 11 plus 7i. That's my numerator. I know I did that fast. You're doing it before I even turn it on, right? And I have 9 plus 15i minus 15i. Boop, gone away. Minus 25i squared. Well, that's -1, which makes that a plus 25. So I have 9 plus 25, which is 34. And so that'll be 11 over 34 plus 7 over 34i. Neither one of those fractions reduces. So there's that. Okay, one more slide. Here we go. This time we're going to simplify these expressions with complex numbers. Now these have expressions, and so first thing we're going to do is the radical first. We're going to do the radical first. That is the first thing. So when we do the radical first, I'm going to take the square root of -12. There's where the I comes from, because that's -1 times square root of 12. -1's the I. So it's going to be 2 times 6, which is 2 times 2 times 3. The 2 gets out and joins with the I, and then the 3 stays in the house. So that's going to become -8 plus, I'm going to write it turned around, over 40. Break my fraction up. Reduce my fractions. And then I have I and square root of 3. Okay, so I reduce my fractions. Let me show you where those are. So here's one fraction and here's the other fraction. I reduced those. Okay, now the thing that you need to pay attention to is that I don't have to write it like that. I can write it with just the square root of 3 and then the I. There we go for that one. All right, this next one, we'll do the radical first. Do the radical first, take it off to the side, and just do the radical. That's the square root of -1 times the square root of 100. That's I. The square root of 100, well, that's just 10. So this is really just 10I. So now let's bring it back. So we have -6 minus 10I over 4. Let's write my little fractions. And now reduce my fractions. There we go. And that's that one. Woohoo! This is a long video and I went very fast. And I'm sorry. Hopefully the videos will be shorter next time and go slower. But remember, it's just math, y'all. Slow it down if you have to. It's just math, y'all.